Hello dears, today we can discuss a new topic from our chapter Nationalism in Europe, the page number 15, Hunger, Hardship and Popular Revolt. Hunger, Hardship and Popular Revolt. The 1830s were years of great economic hardship in Europe. So what type of an year was 1830? An year of great economic hardship. 1830s, that means the 1831, such a type of years, the people of Europe faced great economic hardship. The first half of the 19th century saw an enormous growth in population all of the Europe. So we are discussing here the causes or the reason of this economic hardship. The first one is that the first half of the 19th century, we can see an enormous increase in population all over Europe. Most countries, there were more job seekers than employment. So when population increased, what happened? Job seekers were more than the job opportunity. Population or people from rural areas, they migrated to the cities to live in overcrowded slums. People, in order to search a job, they moved to where? To the cities. And where they lived? In overcrowded slums. Overcrowded means the people there lived more than they can accommodate. Overcrowded slums. Then what is slums, The slum means an overcrowded area or a place in an urban area inhabited by very poor people with poor facilities. That is known as slums. So what happened now? When population increased, unemployment, there were widespread unemployment, and people moved to the cities in order to search job and lived in overcrowded slums. Small producers in the towns, that is their problem. They faced stiff competition from imports of cheap machine-made goods from England. Then another problem. That means the small producers. What problem they faced? They faced a strong competition from imports of cheap machine-made goods from England. At that time, Industrial Revolution occurred in England. And the machine-made products. And these machine-made products imported to other European countries with a cheap rate. So what happened? Small producers, they faced a competition from the machine-made goods. Then next, this was especially in the textile production, which was carried out mainly in homes or small workshops and was only partly mechanized. Especially which producers faced the competition? The people, those who are dependent on the textile production. They faced the competition from mechanized goods. In those regions of Europe, the aristocracy still enjoyed power. Peasants struggled under the burden of feudal dues and obligations. The same time, people, they suffered a lot of problems. At the same time, aristocracy, people belonged in the high caste families, they enjoyed power. Other side, peasants struggled under the burden of feudal dues and obligations. So what were the problems of the poor peasants, poor farmers? They want to pay feudal dues and obligations. What do you mean by feudal dues? The feudal dues means a compulsory amount that the lower estate paid to the higher estate. That means poor peasants, they want to pay it to the nobles. And in return, they will protect them or grant some lands. So here, this amount from the lower caste, the lower caste paid to the higher estate, sometimes in the form of cash, sometimes in the form of stuff, or in the form of service. So the peasants struggled under the burden of these feudal dues and obligations. Then another problem, the rise of food prices or a year of bad harvest led to the widespread pauperism in town and country. So food prices increased one side, other side what happened, year of bad harvest or crop failure occurred. So it led to widespread pauperism in town and country. So all these led to the hunger, hardship and popular revolt. So here there is lack of food producers. What happened? Prices increased and people they were unable to purchase food. They were angry and they were ready to revolt. So that happened. What were the reasons of this hunger, hardship and popular revolt? You got now that increase of population, unemployment, the next competition from the side of mechanized goods, next heavy burden of feudal dues and obligations, then bad harvest or the rise of food prices, all led to widespread pauperism in town and the country. Then the year 1848. It was one such a type of an year. What happened there? Food shortages and widespread unemployment brought the population of Paris out on the roads. What happened? Shortages of food, increase of price, unemployment. Then people they were troubled now. That is why people of Paris, what happened them? They come out on the roads. Barricades were erected and Louis Philippe was forced to flee. So in France, at that time, Louis Philippe, he was the monarch or he was the ruler. And in the roads, people, the population or people, they come out on roads and they barriers erected on the road. And there is no other way. That is why Louis Philippe, he was forced to escape from there. There were no other way. That is why Louis Philippe, he escaped from, he was forced, he compelled to flee. He escaped from there. And a National Assembly proclaimed a republic, granted suffrage to all adult males above 21, and granted the right to work. You know that a state general was renamed as National Assembly, earlier we discussed. And this National Assembly proclaimed France as a republic and it granted suffrage to all adult males above 21 and guaranteed the right to work. National workshops to provide employment were set up. So what happened now? National workshops to set up for what? To provide employment. And next, another small problem we are going to discuss among the weavers. That is known as Silesian revolt. It is Silesian revolt. Earlier in 1845, weavers in Silesia led a revolt against the contractors. Why? The reason that contractors supplied them raw material and gave them orders for finished textiles, but they reduced their payments. So the journalist William Wolfe, he described the events in a Silesian village as follows, that you can see in the textbook. As his words here, in these villages, with how many inhabitants are there? 18,000 inhabitants are there. Cotton weaving is the most widespread occupation. The misery of the workers is extreme. The desperate need for jobs has been taken advantage of by the contractors to reduce the prices of the goods they order. On 4th June at 2 p.m., a large crowd of weavers emerged from their homes and marched in pairs up to the mansion of their contractor, demanding higher wages. They were treated with scorn and threats alternately. Following this, a group of them forced their way into the house, smashed its elegant window panes, furniture, porcelain. Another group broke into the storehouse and plundered it of supplies of cloth, which they tore to shreds. The contractor fled with his family to a neighboring village, which, however, refused to shelter such a person. So he returned 24 hours later with having a requisite army. In the exchange that followed, 11 weavers were shot. So this was the words of the journalist William Wolff, or he described the events of Silesia in this way. So from this, what you understand, Silesia, a village, and the people, their main occupation was weaving, and contractors, they exploited these workers, they reduced the prices of goods. That is why the weavers, they protested and they marched into the large houses of the contractor demanding higher wages. But these contractors' mansion, that means their large house, they were threatened and they were refused. But at the same time, a group of weavers entered into this contractor's mansion and destroyed the furniture and other things, and they looted the cloth supplies of that mansion, and they tore that, or they destroyed the cloth. They tore it into small pieces. The cloth they tore into small pieces. At the same time, the contractor, he escaped with his family to the neighboring village. But the neighboring village was not ready to provide shelter for him or such a type of a person. So that is why he returned back within 24 hours with a requisite army, and in that exchange 11 weavers were shot. So from this, what you understand, the problem of the poor people, or what was the reason of the hunger and hardship, or how it led to a popular revolt. So dear students, go through this area and study the points very well. Thank you.